pretty long-term relationship.
Yeah.
And it's kind of cool because we'll start him here. We'll get to carry him on after. So that's really encouraging to think about.
Well, shall we begin the meeting?
Yes, why don't we?
We'll have a lot of time to chat again, not to worry. So is our recorder started?
It has been recorded ever since Mark asked me to.
Okay.
So just as a segue, I think a question we could ask Elizabeth here, since we are talking about this new way of communicating, how has this Zoom conferencing impacted Urantia University?
Oh, well, good question. Yeah, thank you, Andrea. As a matter of fact, we started using Zoom in our UUI classrooms, our online classrooms, back in 2014, when we first started offering online classes. And at that time, we were looking around for what to use, and there was like GoToMeeting and applications like that. There were a few of them, but they cost about $50 a month, and we were on a shoestring budget. And I looked around to see what other kind of video conferencing software was available at a lower cost. And I discovered Zoom, which I think had just been created in 2012. And I noticed it was developed by Intel and Cisco engineers who left those companies because they wanted to develop a more robust video conferencing software. So I said, let's go with them. These are smart guys, and it was only $10 a month then. So
what is it again, Elizabeth?
Zoom.
Oh, Zoom. Okay.
Elizabeth,
and you know what? They kept developing it and pretty soon it outstripped their parent, their predecessor companies, which was like GoToMeeting. I used to use that when I worked at Transamerica, and I forget the name of the other big one.
Skype?
WebEx.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there you go. But so
Teams a lot.
Zoom turned out to be a real winner. And now we see, gosh, with the pandemic, it became the most widely used software. And I saw a note the other day that Logitech, they were apologizing because they can't keep up with the manufacturing demand for web cameras and headphones and stuff like that. Everybody's getting onto Zoom, right? Children in school and grandparents and everybody. So that's a little bit about Zoom. We really have been using it a long time, and from the beginning, it was our intention to not only have a classroom that had reading and assignments and supplemental learning materials, learning activities, but we also saw the value of getting together in a live classroom setting. And
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
And how cool that you guys were already totally up and running when this pandemic hit.
Yes, we're very accustomed to it. Yeah. We used it for the board meetings, and I could see that. I appreciated when I was working at Transamerica in Los Angeles, that I was there at the beginning when they first had video conferencing. It was such a big deal, when they converted the big corporate conference room to a video conferencing room and got the television set, and they had the it wasn't Plantronics. You probably know, Phil, the
Fries?
phones, and the big ones that you put on the table. It captures voices.
And
from
the conveners.
No, there's another name, but that's right. It'll pop. I haven't used it in a long time. But at that time, that was something like, $50,000-$60,000 to set that up. It was very, very expensive. And then I've watched as it became, the price came down with greater demand for the products. And I think, corporations saw the advantage right away. Gosh, we could save millions of dollars in travel expenses We don't have to send our people to New York, or Raleigh, or wherever. We'll just video conference with them. So
Yeah.
it caught on pretty quickly that way. So I was used to using it in business.
Think of the amount of gas that can be saved now without people having to travel everywhere, commute everywhere. I bet there's a lot of businesses who are not going to go back to the way they were doing things before.
Exactly.
Oh,
right.
but it's
That's what
great fun to go to these conferences in these different cities. It's just great fun.
Yeah.
It's to see these cities. I mean, I hope it does come back to an extent because there's just something about, saying hi to someone in person. But I agree, it's going to definitely be less.
Yeah, my son-in-law works for LinkedIn, and he was noticing that they've been, doing this Zoom conferencing now for over a year. And he wrote an opportunity for the big CEOs of LinkedIn and presented it to him a couple of months ago, talking about how important it was to have this casual conversation around the water cooler kind of conversation. Or when you're at one of these weekend events, you're having dinner and the wine is flowing and all of a sudden these great ideas pop up when you least expect it, not during a Zoom call where you're trying to focus on something in particular. And so he had a great idea about how to sort of build that in. And I know some of you guys have heard that already.
That reminds me, we have a focus here today too. And I'd like to bring us back to that.
Yes, we have.
And Diane, yes, let's start the meeting. Do you have announcements?
We want to be sure and allow time for Elizabeth's PowerPoint and
Yeah,
presentation,
all right.
question and answers. We have lots of talking time, not to worry. We welcome you to our quarterly meeting and presentation. We have a wonderful guest this time. Elizabeth Callahan will be giving us a walkthrough behind the scenes at the university. And we want to mention that we will be having another one of these quarterlies in May. We are still finalizing the date with the speakers, so we will send you out the usual messages in advance so you can mark that down on your calendar. But that's going to be a really good one. Well, and let's open with a kind of a reading to set the tone. I noticed some time ago when people would come to our in-person gatherings quarterly, we could go from one opening of the meeting to the end, and if a new person was there, they would never hear one word from the Urantia book. So we started having a reading from the Urantia book at the start of each one of our meetings. And Phil will do our reading since our usual reader doesn't do Zoom meetings anymore, Everett. He's just zoomed out, he says. So Phil's going to do our reading for us.
Okay. Well, this is from paper 5, which is God's relationship to the individual. And we were reading that last time and probably will continue with it. But here are 3 paragraphs, 552, 53, and 56. 552, 553, and 556.
5 minutes.
Religion is not grounded in the facts of science, the obligations of society, the assumptions of philosophy, or the implied duties of morality. Religion is an independent realm of human response to life situations and is unfailingly exhibited at all stages of human development, which are post-moral. Religion may permeate all 4 levels of realization of values and the enjoyment of universe fellowship: the physical or material level of self-preservation, the social or emotional level of fellowship, the moral or duty level of reason, and the spiritual level of the consciousness of universe fellowship through divine worship. The fact-seeing scientist conceives of God as the first cause, a God of force. The emotional artist sees God as the ideal of beauty, a God of aesthetics. The reasoning philosopher is sometimes inclined to posit a God of universal unity, even pantheistic deity. The religionist of faith believes in a God who fosters survival, the Father in heaven, the God of love. Religious experience, being essentially spiritual, can never be fully understood by the material mind. Hence, the function of theology, the psychology of religion. The essential doctrine of the human realization of God creates a paradox in finite comprehension. It is well nigh impossible for human logic and finite reason to harmonize the concept of divine immanence, God within, and a part of every individual, with the idea of God's transcendence, the divine domination of the universe of universes. These two essential concepts of deity must be unified in the faith grasp of the concept of the transcendence of a personal God and in the realization of the indwelling presence of a fragment of that God in order to justify intelligent worship and validate the hope of personality survival. The difficulties and paradoxes of religion are inherent in the fact that the realities of religion are utterly beyond the mortal capacity for intellectual comprehension. So that's a little bit of a chunk of philosophy.
We can again take comfort in our fallibility and not feel so bad that we don't understand a whole lot of it. We're not supposed to.
You said that was from paper 5. What section and paragraph, Phil, do you
Now
know?
that was section 552, 553, and 556.
Okay, thank you. That was really good. Thank you.
What was the page you were on, Phil?
Well, I just read it, printed it out. I can tell you that. Let's, well, actually, I can't because I've got it on Truth Book right now.
Tell me later.
All right. All right. So we're ready to introduce our main speaker. And I was, casting about looking for some background on Elizabeth Callahan. And I found out she retired from Rhodes Scholar.
Well, that was me.
Hostel. Huh?
That was me.
No, John, that was me too. We both did.
Oh, that's right. We both right. Forgot. Oh, silly me.
After serving many years as a program coordinator for its adult educational travel programs, in order to work full-time on the development of Urantia University. Prior to joining Rhodes Scholars, she enjoyed a long corporate career at Transamerica Insurance Companies in Los Angeles. Throughout her life, Elizabeth has pursued a path of contemplative practice and studies in world religions and transpersonal psychology. She trained intensively for many years in both the Soto and Vizai schools of Zen and was ordained a Zen Buddhist monk. I didn't know that. Years later, she returned to her Christian roots, seeking the expression of the original way that Jesus lived and taught, and was ordained a priest in the independent Catholic Church. During those years, she also pursued training in transpersonal psychology, including graduate work at ITP, now Sophia University in Menlo Park, California. Since discovering the Urantia book in 1984, she has devoted herself to in-depth study and sharing it with others. She has been a trustee of Urantia University since its inception and currently serves, well, or maybe not any longer, as executive director of Urantia University Institute. Are you still, okay, well, that's still current then.
Yep, very full time.
So a Buddhist monk and a Catholic priest give you Elizabeth Callahan, a Urantia book scholar as well.
Elizabeth, how did you find the Urantia book?
Actually, one day at lunchtime in a bookstore in downtown Los Angeles. I had left the Zen monastery about a month before. I had started a new job. I was starting my life all over again. I was probably age 36 or so. And I didn't have much money. And the book at that time was about $45. And there was one copy in the bookstore, and it was wrapped in cellophane. And I always tell people I still had that Catholic schoolgirl conscience that I couldn't open, it would not be right to open the cellophane because I hadn't bought the book. But I saw the titles and I saw the 3 blue circles like behind Phil. Yeah, I went back to work and I could not erase that from my mind. So as soon as my work day was over, I raced back to the bookstore and still there on the shelf waiting for me. And I bought it and opened it up and I wept. I really wept that night at home to get an idea of the contents of it. Because by then I'd been through quite a long spiritual journey, a search for truth. So the book explained to me a lot of what I had experienced and really profoundly enlightened me with respect to one's personal relationship with God through the thought adjuster. So that's how I found the Urantia book. And I've been really, truly devoted to it ever since. I was in study groups in the Los Angeles area for a long time. I was in the group with Chick Montgomery. And Lee and Rosalind Armstrong. That was my first study group.
I
Wow.
used to go to.
You don't remember me, but I remember you. You were in Santa Monica or Venice, right? At that
Well, I went
time?
to all of them, but Lee and Rosalind, and also
Yes.
Santa Monica, John Mahaffey, and yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Went to the School of Meanings and Values. And later I joined UBIS, actually, as a matter of fact, and worked with Dorothy Elder for a number of years as a teacher and as a facilitator and with the curriculum review committee. But then the opportunity came along with Urantia University, and it was just a bigger vision. So I saw more creativity and possibility with that framework. So,
Elizabeth, when Phil was doing your introduction, I heard him say something about you had prepared training manuals for a school. Did I hear that correctly?
I was a training, well, no, I know I was a course administrator for Rhodes Scholar.
Okay.
That's more like it. But actually, as part of my work at Transamerica, I was, a manager of the IRA and pension administration, and that involved, making sure that we had version control and training manuals for employees and so forth. So I sure know how to write a training manual.
Yeah.
From all of that work, and I love it. I really enjoy it. I tend to think systematically.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, Marie.
Yeah, hi. Elizabeth, mom's Catholic, and we're very familiar with the Catholic religion. I've not heard about the independent Catholic religion and women being priests. What is that?
That descends, Marie, from the Church of Utrecht. It was a kind of, which I say, rebellious Dutch church. Utrecht is UTRECHT.
Okay, thank you.
It was kind of rebellious church in the Netherlands.
Okay.
Dating from the 18th century, and they broke away from the Vatican.
Okay.
And they have a tradition of ordaining women.
How cool.
Yeah. So John remembers, because when I met John, I was teaching at the Santa Monica Zen Center. I had the Urantia book also, and I was a independent Catholic priest, and I offered mass in the Zendo. So I really have an interest in bridging those traditions. There's a lot there in common.
Yeah.
John.
Could I say something, Elizabeth?
Go right ahead.
We can't shut him up, Phil.
So I just want to share that Elizabeth and I got married in 1997. and she introduced me to the Urantia book in 2003.
Ah,
Wow.
Be-
She
For
five
didn't,
a
years.
very good reason.
she didn't hide it from me. It just was this big blue book that sat next to her on the other side of the bed on the bedstand. And it was just another book because she has like a lot of books
Yeah.
about religion and philosophy and stuff. So
My answer to that is there's a season for everything under the sun.
that's right. The timing was perfect.
Yeah, but I'm aware of the time. And oh, I hear that adorable creature. No, oh no, I love it. I love the sound of dogs
Well,
barking.
let's segue right into your program, Elizabeth.
Okay.
I'm
Well,
gonna
first,
let you can share your screen, Elizabeth.
yes, I saw you gave me permission. Thank you.
So, well, I mean, I think, yeah, you should go ahead and do it so nobody else can do it.
Okay. Well, first, I just want to say thank you, Phil, for the wonderful introduction, and Diane and Andrea for inviting me and communicating with me and setting this up. I really appreciate the time and the effort that you put into it. So it's wonderful. I am your California neighbor. And we have,
I do want to say, the reason that you're here is that I went on to your website to find out what's going on at the university. And I was so blown away by the array of wonderful, I mean, very pinpoint to the nth degree of courses that would be very impactful on people. And at the time, I was struggling with how might we introduce the book to new people, because I totally am inadequate in finding words to do that, and had been feeling so inadequate to that job. And here was clearly laid out paths, wording already carefully chosen and probably very effective, and the pictures and the variety of topics that one could pick. It was just, that's what I had been striving for decades. And here it was, well developed, well laid out, good illustrations. It was perfect. You brought such joy to my heart.
oh, good.
You know, and here I've been in the movement for a very long time and I didn't know. So how could
Oh,
something be? So everybody needs to know what treasures there are in this school that you've developed. And so I'm going to keep on promoting this till I die. But you guys have done an amazing, amazing job.
thank you, Diane. Thank you. There's, over the years, we've built an incredible team. John knows he serves on as a trustee also, but people whom you know, like Merritt Horn and Andre Rodatis, and Robert Burns is with us and has been from the beginning, of course, and Buck and Arlene Weimer and Bennett, Claire Thurston. We have just a terrific board, very loving, very congenial. We love working together, and it's proved to be a great partnership. So I'll show you more as we go on. Well, first of all, I think some of you may be aware of the origin of Urantia University because Tim Hobbs and David Nash went on a real stump around the country in the summer of 2009, kind of introducing this concept. First to Paula Thompson, and then they went around visiting study groups and societies. And by the fall of 2009, we had formed an interim board just to start up this organization. So I made just a short video. I've got a PowerPoint, but I made a video just to give you the short history of Urantia University and a idea of our philosophy, where we're coming from in terms of our educational philosophy and our mission. And I produced this with music because I thought it might be a more fun way to get a history lesson than, for me to say it or show boring PowerPoints. Okay. So let me share my screen and show. It's just like a 2.5 minute video. Bear with me here.
Elizabeth,
Yes.
You're not a co-host. Double check.
No, I can share.
She doesn't have to be.
Oh, okay, good. Never mind.
The way
Never
Phil
mind.
has it. Thank you for looking out for me, John.
Never mind.
Okay. And can everyone hear me okay? I want to make sure the volume is correct.
Hear you very well.
Okay, great.
Yes.
Wonderful. Now I'm going to share. Let me get this up. Come on. Ay, ay, ay.
Are you having trouble?
No, no, it's fine now. Here we go. Can you see the screen okay? It's black. It's going to be.
In a minute.
Here it comes.
Here it comes.
Oh, yeah.
Come, all you brothers. Come, all you sisters too. You have a light in you, and so do I. Come, all you sisters. Come, all you brothers too. You have a light in you, and so do I. When I look at my life through the law of attraction, when I look at my life, when I look at my life through the law of attraction, when I look at my life, when I look at my life through the law of attraction, everything in us is based on distraction. It's a cat laser light, you never get satisfaction. And sometimes I think that's the point. You gotta love each other, love each other, gotta love each other, love each other, gotta love each other, love each other. And sometimes I think that's the point. You gotta love each other, love each other, gotta love each other, love each other, gotta love each other, love each other. And sometimes I know that's the point. Come, all you sisters. Come, all you brothers too. You have a light in you, and so do I. And so do I.
Oh, good. I love the music.
Oh, yeah.
Was a more fun way to get a history lesson, huh?
Very well done.
Very good. Very
All
good.
right. Well, thank you.
Really, really well written too.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Where'd that music come from?
It's actually, I discovered this from John. Cree and Hetty are two women who visited his Unity Church in Ventura several years ago, right? And we got their CD. And I love that song. It's just so upbeat.
Nice.
Their name, right? Cree, K-R-I, I think, right, John? Cree and Hetty, Hettie. You know, they never made the top 100 Billboard, but you know, we bought their CD.
That's all right.
I'll try to support
Hi,
them.
Melinda.
Hey, Melinda. Hello.
Running late.
Welcome, Andrew. Nice to see you there.
Oh, and Andrew.
Yeah, thanks, Dan. Good to see you too.
Hi, Bob.
Well, good. I'm glad we could get reconnected here. All right. Well, we'll move on, right? I've got a PowerPoint just to begin to show you some of our programs at UUI. So let me share my screen once more. Start here at the beginning. Okay. Here we go. So can everyone see that all right?
Yeah.
Good, and hear me okay. Wonderful. Well, this is a way of visually depicting the range of educational tracks that we're developing, from introductory level courses on the different parts of the Urantia book to in-depth and topical study courses from different levels. This past year, we introduced an ambitious new program, self-directed study of the Urantia book. We're preparing self-study guides for every paper in the book, plus the forward. We developed a number of spiritual living courses. We're focused also on social and intellectual gatherings like the UUI Cafe that I'll be showing you in a moment. And starting in 2020, we began to develop in earnest 2 new major training programs. Get on here. Oop. There we go. So last year with the coronavirus, it became evident, by late February, March, that we could no longer gather in person. If you remember, UAI held their first Urantiathon, which was really successful and brought together, I forget how many, well over 100 Urantia book students from around the world. So we had a light bulb went off at that time, and we at Urantia University decided to create a similar kind of gathering place online. We envisioned it as meeting 5 to 6 days a week. And we called it the UUI Cafe, a virtual cafe. And basically a place where people could hang out online, people with a passion for God, who enjoy spiritual conversations and also get to share their life and how, the changing world was affecting them, and as well as get lessons in the Urantia book. So we set up a schedule, and we started with our first cafe, I think it was March 23rd, 2020. So we have now over 300 of these. I put 275, but it's actually over 300 now. Cafes in the bag. Attendance ranges anywhere from 20 to 25 people to 45 people a session. And for special occasions, that number goes higher. We've recruited 12 different UUI Cafe moderators. I'm sure you know most of them. And by diversifying their assignments, none of us is too burdened. And we have been amassing a huge amount of what I would call group study or study group material that we want to share this year. So we'll be communicating to study groups around the country, around the world during the coming year, and packaging a lot of the cafe topics for study groups, because it's got all the readings and wonderful questions that have been developed that can be used in a study group setting. And here's just take a moment and read what Gail said about her experience. I mentioned earlier that we're hearing from people that the relationships that they're developing, the learning that they're experiencing in the cafe is bringing about spiritual transformation. And Gail is somebody that comes several days a week to the cafes. So it's really a living spiritual community. I think it's part of the universal spiritual brotherhood of Jesus, actually. And then the next exciting program that we introduced this past fall is called the Self-Directed Study Program. We have a team of senior students of the Urantia book who are developing these self-study guides. We have probably about 25 up so far. Of course, there's 196 papers plus the forward. So we have a long way to go. We hope to be done by the end of 2023. And if any of you is motivated to join this project, we would welcome you to submit, to meet with us and take a look at how we have these set up and take a shot at developing a self-study guide from one of the papers in the Urantia book. And if you click with it and you really enjoy it, we have lots of work for you, okay?
Oh, I would love to do that.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, I'm going to sign you up at the end of this presentation, okay? And I will meet with you next week because we're very excited to get the whole book done within a couple of years. And obviously, we have about 10 to 12 people working on it now. But there's the development part, and then there's the editorial review part, and then assembling all these supplemental materials. I'm going to bring you to the classroom today and show you what it's like inside one of these self-study programs. Really wonderful. And of course, the great thing about it is, students were telling us that they wanted to be able to sign up for a course today and not wait 2 or 3 months for a live class to become available. And so we saw there was a pent-up need for students around the world, particularly Africa, we're noticing, but North America and South America as well, to be able to sign up for a course today and get going right away, and also have the benefit of having office hours, which is really an online Zoom meeting with UUI instructors and other students, where you can talk about questions that are coming up. So we don't leave you on your own. It's self-study, but we add office hours so that people can communicate in a living relationship with other readers.
How are these classes formatted?
I'm going to show you that. It's hard
Great.
to, I'm going to take you inside the classroom and show you how it's formatted.
Yeah.
Okay. So the purpose of it, again, is to help students from beginning levels to intermediate, even advanced, master the content of the individual papers and explore, supplementary resources, maps, charts, papers, secondary works on the Urantia book. Also to apply their knowledge and engage actively with meanings and values in the revelation. And we already have 75 to 80 people that are underway studying. And again, this is one of my favorite students, Christos Magidis. He's from Cyprus. He works for Cyprus Airways. Greek is his first language, but he's taking our self-study courses. And this is what he had to say.
That's great.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, we're able to support people in a whole new way. And what he says is very true. We have designed a class that a beginner can take it, but we have advanced questions for senior, experienced, seasoned students of the Urantia book. And then lots of additional material that more serious students can dig into if they want. Okay.
How could we find the list of the 275 different topics that you...
In the cafe, I'm going to bring you there right after this presentation. We're going to go to the UUI website and I'll show you where the cafe material is, and you can begin accessing it right away.
Thank you.
You're welcome. One of the next wonderful courses that we've developed is A Way of Life in the Family of God, a course in spiritual formation. Marvin Gowan developed this in 2018. And since then, over 225 people have taken the course. We've even offered it in Korean last summer with Jisoo Han. And she and a team of people in Korea translated all the Urantia book material, because the course is taught completely from the Urantia book text. And she did the translating. In other words, Marvin would talk, then Jisoo would translate to the Korean readers. There were about 15 of them in the class. They would ask questions. Jisoo would translate that to Marvin. He'd answer, she'd translate. She did an amazing job. She was so skillful, so gracious. So this is a terrific course, and why I love it, and I've taken it myself. I've sat in the class 6 times, because it truly is developing the concept of the kingdom of God as the spiritual family of God. So it explores this parent-child relationship we have with God and the spiritual sister-brother relationship we have with all beings, as well as 5 other major core spiritual truths in the Urantia book. It's a wonderful class. And if some of you may have taken our workshop last September, again, because of the COVID pandemic, we realized last March or April that there were already people had died. Steve Dreyer had died. Others were sick. We knew that people were grieving, and we wanted to find a way to be useful and serve people in their life transitions and in grieving. So we assembled a wonderful group of spiritual psychotherapists and one hospice worker, and developed this. Was a wonderful 2-day program, and we will probably offer it again later this year, sometime in the spring.
That's great news, Elizabeth. I attended, and it was very inspiring and very helpful if you're dealing in grief.
Oh, listen, thank you for that. Thank you.
Oh, it was, Elizabeth, just truly beautiful, very well organized, and so informative.
Great. And we produced, like, it was probably a 25-page handout, so that people could take that and apply it in their own lives, and then learn how to practice some of these techniques to be a better friend, a healing listener to people who are grieving. Then another terrific program that was developed by Michael Hill was Self-Mastery, Circle Attainment, and True Faith, and he'll be again delivering that live later on this spring. Now this I'm really excited about. We developed the new reader course in conjunction with Your Rancher Book Fellowship. They saw a need, we saw a need for finding a way to support new readers of the Rancher book who are often they're defeated, by the size of the book, and the complexity of it, and the language, some of the language in it. And we hear from so many people, oh, I've had the book for 20 years. It's been sitting on my shelf. I pick it up, but I just can't seem to get into it. It's just overwhelming. We said there's got to be a way to take people on a guided tour through the Rancher book, like the Reader's Digest version, and give them a tour of the landscape, point out the highlights. And it's completely taught, by the way, from the text of the Rancher book. It's a 10-week course. We have a handout every week that's probably anywhere from 20 to 25 pages. So you end up with, something like a 230-page book by the time you assemble all these handouts. And it's all the text from the Rancher book, plus links to all kinds of other supplemental information and all the major websites and study group directory and all of that. Our purpose is help people become comfortable with the Rancher book, help them get through the whole book, get the main themes, get the highlights, get the language, and then onboard them into the Rancher community. Many of them have gone on to take other courses. They've joined study groups. They have joined us in the UUI Cafe. So we've offered it now 3 times, and have helped many, many people. Over 150 people have taken the course. Okay.
Elizabeth?
Yes.
Elizabeth, I just really want to say the new reader course is a misnomer, because I'm currently taking that, and I've been reading the Rancher book for 5 to 6 years.
Yes.
And I have gotten so enlightened just by following, the outlines that you have and listening to the videos. And I just want to say you and Marvin are just marvelous. And I love Jack in your group.
Yes.
He is just so, he's so inspiring.
Yes.
Considering his journey.
You're in the current,
right
yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't see.
It's Melinda. It's Melinda.
Oh, Melinda. Oh, yes, Melinda.
Hi.
Thank you. We love Jeff. And I'll just say a word to the group here. We have a beautiful soul in our current new reader course. He just discovered the Rancher book a couple of months ago. Somehow the angels connected him to UUI and the new reader course. He's in hospice right now. He is dying of kidney cancer. And he's so, as Melinda said, he's so inspiring, and he's getting so much. It's like he's preparing for his graduation. And I think he'll make it till the end of the course. And anyway, we love him. I'm so glad to hear your feedback, Melinda.
Oh,
Thank you.
yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Here's another wonderful course. I don't know if any of you have been involved in it yet. It's the Progress Project, and this is completely developed by the Yayas. Angie Thurston and April Helen came to us with this idea that was generated in the Yaya group in the years they were meeting all the time with Tom Choquette and Fred Harris. It was Jeff Thies, Liz Craig and Angie and April, a whole bunch of other people. Derek Samaras, and they were having trouble expanding it. So, because Angie's mother, Claire Thurston, is on our board, maybe they talked, and Claire said, "Well, what about the UUI platform?" So we worked with them in 2020 to develop this course. It's actually all their work. We just help, format it and get it into our online classroom. They're doing all the work. They've done an extraordinary job. I got to say, they have a lot of, senior students of the Urantia book that have been taking this, and it's a worship-based course. It's experiential. They have people meeting in triads throughout the week and supporting each other in cultivating a regular spiritual awareness practice, attempting practicing the presence of God, having appointments with God every day in worship, and sharing their inner lives with each other. And the reviews, the feedback we're getting is really tremendous. People who have struggled with establishing a worship practice are now able to do it. So I love these young women. I can't even imagine what they will do in the future. And then here's another great course that just started a couple weeks ago, actually last week, I think, with Jill Strunk, who is a clinical psychologist, a longtime Urantia book student from Colorado, now living in Minnesota. She noticed in her clinical practice that so many people, especially the past year, were suffering terribly from anxiety and depression. Including people in the Urantia community, and she wanted to do something about it. And so she prayed on it. And if you listen to her, she tells the story of how she was suddenly inspired with the words, "Be of good cheer." Hearing Jesus say that over and over again to his apostles and disciples. So she developed extremely brilliant course based on, again, the teachings of Jesus, but she's combining it with contemporary psychological research, and it's marvelous. She's got super good videos. It's filled with techniques for enlarging our personal capacity to experience joy. And as joy goes up, fear goes down, anxiety goes down. And the other emphasis is, well, okay, now that I'm getting this for myself, how can I help other people to do the same? So that's Be of Good Cheer. And here's another wonderful testimony from Adina, who went through this past year our new reader course and then Way of Life in the Family of God. I'll let you read that. Really nice, huh? She's a lovely, lovely person, and often joins us in the cafe as well. And just a quick screenshot here of, where our students are. These are some of the places. They're all over the United States, of course, in Canada. And in Europe, we have a large group of students, Australia, Africa, and South America. Okay, and then let's take a look. Oops, here we go. Now, coming in 2021, Tom Allen is going to bring it on with the great debate on the scale of Orvonton. So all you people interested in the cosmology of the book, this is going to be a terrific class. I hope that we will have it ready to offer in the April-May timeframe. we have Stuart Kerr coming maybe by the summer with the Urantia Books Revelation on Mind. And we have a course coming up also in self-mastery and the way of Jesus. So look for that later in 2021. And just to give you an idea of what we're kind of focusing on for this year, 2021 and beyond, will be, of course, continue to develop these self-directed study guides for the Urantia book. Keep up with the cafe. We had no idea how popular it would become. And now, honestly, I don't know if any of you have been there, but my take on it is it's the spiritual brotherhood of Jesus. It is something much more than a study group. It's not church, but it's like church because we have worship as part of the gathering. So it's completely taking place in a spiritual framework of God loving people, God conscious people. And that brings the conversation really to supreme levels. And people are sharing their inner lives and experiences and making all these connections with the intellectual knowledge of the Urantia book and their experiential, their mind, body, soul understanding of these spiritual truths. So I think it's just a whole new way to meet. It's not, it's in between education and religion. It's a hybrid, and somehow
Elizabeth,
yes.
you moved your microphone slightly, so
Oh. How is that?
volume's up.
Is that better now?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I'm so sorry, and please let me know if I do that again. I get excited, and I guess it moved. Anyway, so that's the cafe, and here's some more good news. We have been diligently working with a group of people from across the major Urantia organizations. Gar Jameson, Marilyn David Kulicki, Chris Wood. We've got Rob Mastriani and Jerry Johnson, Andre Rodatis, Ari Horn, Merritt Horn. And then there's a few others helping us develop a 2-year Urantia book teacher training program. I think this has been talked about for decades. And after the Brotherhood School ended, it kind of fizzled out. And I think we have a chance of really, now that we have the internet and we have online classrooms and ways to connect people and teach that we never had before, I think we really have a chance to pull this off. So look for that probably beginning sometime in 2022. The next big news is Integrative Wellbeing Training Program. I'll show you more about that in a moment. And then, of course, we'll continue to get all of our courses that were on our old platform. We'll get them onto our new classroom platform. We want to offer our classes both live and also in a self-study format so people can take them anytime. Okay, so Urantia Book Teacher Training Program. Again, this is going to be a comprehensive thematic study of the book. We're not intending to teach the book to new people. We will be welcoming people who are serious. You don't, students of the Urantia book, you don't have to have been studying it 30 years, but you really have had to have read it more than once, 3 times more, be very committed in your study and be familiar with the book before coming into a program like this. We will review major themes and so forth, but the emphasis is going to be on practical training. Teaching techniques for presenting the Urantia Revelation in a variety of formats, whether it's in person or in a study group or online or in a spiritual living center, perhaps, some kind of online ministry.
Spiritual living center.
Program. Yes. Yes.
Nice.
So it'll have a variety of applications. That's up to each person's individual inspiration and creativity. Okay, we're probably going to be formatting it as a person could take a 1-year program leading to a certificate. We would like to have, of course, this is all pre-COVID that we plan this, but post-COVID or in the new normal, we would like to have at least one 7-day in-person gathering, perhaps in Chicago at the foundation, because they've got guest rooms there in a wonderful conference room and a lot of history there, or it could be in some other venue. We'll see what unfolds. The diploma would be one step up, and this is for people who want to do the 2-year program. So after completing 1-year program in Urantia studies, they will go on then to take a 2nd year leading to a pastoral diploma. So it will combine both teaching and spiritual ministry. Okay, so watch for that. We're again very hard at work on that. And here's the other, I'm really personally excited in this because of my interest in healing modalities and transpersonal psychology. We are developing an integrative well-being training program, but it will be different from everything else that's out there in the marketplace, which has more, it's based on kind of mind and physical well-being. This program will, from the get-go, be based on a foundation of the spiritual awareness of that God lives in us, that the Spirit of God lives in us. It will have, we have a spiritual nucleus, and that is the basis for our well-being, for good intellectual health and emotional health, social health. So, and again, it will be connecting the Urantia book with, in an interdisciplinary or cross-disciplinary way with contemporary science, neuroscience, philosophy, and psychology. Again, very appealing, very contemporary format, probably lots of video. We want to build a spiritual community of healers and mentors. It's meant to be taken by people who want to really develop their own integrated wellness, but also have an interest in being transformers, agents of transformation in the bigger society. So this is going to take the development of a language that is more universal, because we won't be quoting from the Urantia book, rather that the wisdom of the ideas and ideals of the Urantia will infuse the entire curriculum. But we need to say it in a way that is universally accessible, especially to young people, you know, to the nuns. You know, Angie has talked so much about all the young people, and even people my age, that at some point in their life, they left the churches because they were more, they wanted more truth. They wanted more independent thinking. And that's not to say that there's the world, I love the churches of the world, but there's a whole group of underserved people, especially millennials and now Gen Z, that Angie and others care a lot about. And we want to be able to develop language that they can relate to and respond to. So these will be working with all these areas, the core messages that, you know, the Spirit of God lives in us. There'll be courses in physical well-being, somatic awareness, so, you know, mindfulness, body awareness, emotional well-being, intellectual well-being, soul growth, you know, heart-mind coordination. Like you, some of you may know the work that's being done by HeartMath. I trained with them a long time ago too. And this extends into the world of relationships. And of course, our financial well-being and our working relationships. And we'll also have a track in coaching.
So Elizabeth, are you saying that could lead to a coaching certificate once the course?
Yes, we want to be able to meet the criterion for that National Coaching Association.
Oh, that is cool. Is the university accredited?
No, not at all. No, we're simply authorized by the state of Colorado.
Okay, all right.
And we hope to, by the way, on all of this, we're just building courses right now that lead to certificates, but our aim is to meet the criteria for offering a master's degree program within our, you know, our limited sphere.
Yeah.
And that we can do within the realm of philosophy and religion, because that's our purview. We couldn't offer a master's in astrophysics or economics.
Right.
That's outside, but we can within the Urantia book studies and related philosophy and
Okay.
world religions. Yeah. And again, spiritual well-being. So that is, I'm glad you asked that because that is where we want to go with this.
Okay.
So finally, just wrapping up the PowerPoint part, we're doing all of this basically. If I didn't make it clear, our model really is thinking, feeling, and doing. We like to imagine, well, what are they teaching out there in the mansion worlds, in those 100 schools each in thinking, feeling, and doing. They're helping us develop and correct our deficiencies, all the training we did not get on Earth. We're getting in those first several mansion worlds. And we like to imagine what that is and try to develop that here for people who are ready to hear that. So that we can all just grow in God consciousness, personally and societally. And we believe in that model of worship, study, and service, philosophy, religion, and science. And we hope, in the years to come, I won't live to 2050 unless, who knows, but we really want to build a foundation for an institution that will last for hundreds of years and disseminate the message. So this is it. We see ourselves as a dynamic, growing spiritual community of God conscious, God loving, God serving people. And we sure look forward to working with you and serving with you. And there's my email address. I can put that in the chat later too. Okay, so I'm going to stop share.
Yay, thank you.
Okay, I didn't put anybody to sleep, I hope.
Oh, no, very
good. Okay.
No, very enthralling. Very
That was
nice.
great.
Thank you.
Well, good. Listen, and let me pause now for question. How am I doing, Diane and Phil, with time?
You're
Fine.
fine. You're doing fine.
Okay, good. Because
No.
I'd like to leave a little time here if people have questions, and then I'll go show you what a classroom looks like and how to access the cafe topics.
That's what our time now is. We segue right now into questions and answers, but I know people have been asking questions along the way.
Yes, yes, and I'm glad they did. And if there's no other questions right now, I'll press on.
I have a question. How did you develop these 274 topics? I mean, that's incredible to me.
Well, we'll take a look at them, and it's basically there's probably 12 of us, and every week, a different person is assigned to the Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, through Friday cafes. It's 90 minutes long. We stagger the start time so that every day it's in a different. It'll make it easier for people in other time zones to join the cafe. So, like where I live where we live in California, I think Monday starts at 7 a.m. and then Tuesday starts at 10. And Wednesday starts at 1 p.m. and Thursday at 4. And that way we can pull in people from Africa and Europe and Asia. So it's the work of those individuals. And I've done a lot of the cafes myself, and I probably spend, 5, 6, 7 hours preparing for them in terms of, meditating, praying to come up with the topic, and then doing the research to find good material in the Urantia book to develop that concept, and then come up with the questions. I like to find also, I like to open the cafe with interesting videos.
I think John has a question too.
Yeah.
Well, not so much a question, it's just that I've done a number of them before I got really sick, and I'm back into it now. But one of the first ones I just did a cafe, and basically it was on the inevitabilities.
Page 50, 51.
52, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And now I'm doing a second two. I did a first part, and I'm going to be doing a second part this coming. I do Thursdays at 4 o'clock, 4 to 5:30, and I'm doing one on achieving and maintaining balance.
Wow.
Because I have a model. So
well, we'll go into that. Yeah, we'll show them where your topic is on the list.
I have a question for you, Elizabeth.
Say again.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
I'm interested in the moving to action. It seems inevitable when you get more and more into the spiritual in touchness that you then have the urge to do something. And even the book eventually you have to do something. And so I'd like to know how the school manages that. So far in our society, the trend has been, well, leave that up to each individual to adopt their own individual type of service. But I'm aware that as a group, a whole lot can be done that cannot be done individually. More options are there. But tell me what the school has in its mind about action. You mentioned it earlier.
Well, w- we see a lot of synergies in the programs that we have, and an immediate way that people can serve is to go through a training program and then be prepared, develop the skills necessary to become a cafe moderator. We see that model of the cafe is something that we could really extend out onto the internet and bring people into a spiritual community in which we share not only from the Urantia book, but from many spiritual traditions. And we will need a lot of people to do that. It will be a wonderful way to serve for those that are called to do that. The same thing with the teacher training program. We would hope people going through that training would then go out to serve either in their communities or maybe in the online community with us and teach in the various programs and so forth. And Diane, we are also looking for ways maybe to partner up with the Urantiathon people, the hackathon people, Victor and Luis and others, to develop projects in society
Now, who is this
that
you're
just
referring
make
to?
the world a better place.
Who is this you're
I think
referring
that
to?
Wait, hold on. Let Diane finish and then John and Phil. Yes,
Who
Diane.
people that you're referring to that you wanted to team up with?
Oh, it's the hackathon people. I don't know if you attended the hackathon last summer, but that was a group of international Urantia book
awesome.
students, and it was so much fun. I was a coach for the Dutch team, kind of like whatever spiritual mentor coach person. And every team they had, oh, I don't know how many, 12 or 15 teams from various countries, and they all worked on developing some kind of application, some kind of project that would be spiritually nourishing, that would make the world a better place, that would create more understanding among people, that would give create responses, helpful responses to the pandemic. And so a lot of great ideas were generated and using a hackathon model that a team from Europe introduced to us. So the Dutch team won, actually, and they developed a telephone application, something like the Calm application that John uses, and it will be a spiritual message that goes out every day to subscribers on their phone in Europe. So they're working on it now. So that's a very creative way, to work in teams. And I always remember what the Ranch book says about that teamwork is probably the most important lesson in our mortal life experience. Learning how to work on teams is going to help us in our mansion world careers and beyond.
Well,
Yeah, John.
that's a great way to do it, because then you're not on your own. You have a team to work with, and you're learning how to work in a team. That's a perfect way to get into action.
I agree. So John and Phil.
So Elizabeth has really helped me so much right from the very beginning, is that the thinking, feeling, doing. And so in the earliest study groups, I kept asking the group in my study group, I said, we meet on Friday nights, and I said, so how do I apply this on Monday morning? How do I apply this?
Yeah.
So the second part of it is specifically answering your question, Diane, and you actually have named it. It's all about collaboration and teamwork.
Yes. And creating venues for someone to join.
Yes,
so
of course.
You've got a platform already created.
Yes.
welcome people in, and that makes it so much easier.
Access.
Mhm.
Yes.
Thank you.
I-
And Phil had a question.
And then
Yeah,
Andrew.
I guess,
Andrea,
the question that comes to my mind always is this, any of this going to help me break into my Christian UCC church that, a few of them have aware of it, maybe 1 out of or 2 out of 100. They've all heard about it, but they're too happy with their Christian church than really wanting to look any further. And I guess that's true of a lot of younger people. So I'm not trying to cut out of the course, but can you give us any highlights of how you answer that question in the course? Or maybe don't even bother. Try to get some new blood.
Can I answer that, Elizabeth?
sure.
I think I belong to the Unity Church of Ventura, and I started participating. I started helping out on the platform, and when we would do our daily word and our meditation, I would not talk about the Urantia book, but I would use the pieces of it, and slowly but surely, people would come up and go like, "That was really great. Where's that come from?" I said, "Oh, it's just from my studies." I would not answer the question. And slowly but surely they go, "So no, what are you studying?" And I would say, and I've learned years ago, I do not say the Urantia book. Nope. That's absolutely right into a cul-de-sac that's damn difficult to get out of. So I now say, "Oh, I've been studying the Urantia tradition." You go, "Oh, that's interesting. Then they say, "What's the tradition?" And now I can talk about it. Now, when they get specific, I say, "Oh, I've been studying the Urantia papers."
Yeah.
"Oh, yeah, I've got this incredible stack of papers. I got like 190, well, the 4 of them, in a huge book. It's like 2,000 pages and blah, blah, blah." And I can talk about the papers. I just found out that using the word book is absolutely, it killed off all of my family. They all went like, "Who wrote it?"
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Andrew.
that's a good idea. Papers instead of book.
Yeah.
Andrew. Sorry to cut you off, buddy.
Oh, no, right. I put my hand up a long time ago and I forgot about it. I actually have my hand up. Yeah, no, some question. So one of the questions that came up as you were giving your course, a lot among others, as you were going through the slide deck was one, I think they're all great. How do you, parse out your energy, your time to devote to each one, and how are you funded? I mean,
Yes.
right? I mean,
Yeah.
time and I say time is money, but time is energy. Really, money is energy, but all of this takes a lot of it, and
It does. It
So what's
does.
the
And,
question?
first of all, from the beginning, we had a generous board of trustees. There were 10 of us, and we just contributed.
Mhm.
And that paid the bills. Luckily, it's
Okay.
online. We don't have a physical plant to maintain. We just have
Right.
to, subscribe to the technology, pay for the software and other minor things. So and then as we started making videos, we did have to invest in equipment and so forth. Right now, we have a growing number of donors, the recurring donors and one-time donors that believe in the vision.
Right.
And it's coming at a time that we are ready to expand. So I was lucky enough, by 2014, I was able to retire and do this full time as executive director. And I really do work at it 7 days a week.
I believe
But
it. Yeah,
it's
it's a lot of
it's,
work.
yeah. And luckily, I got to tell you something. The systems people will appreciate this. Years ago, when I left the Zen Center, my first job was at Union Bank. was 1984, and the bank had a program to make a loan to employees who wanted to buy an IBM PC. That was the beginning, right? And so I applied for the loan. I bought my PC. Remember, it was 64 RAM. I mean, it was ridiculous, right? You had to put the floppy disk in and out and all that.
Yeah,
But I remember Andrew
I
saying,
have one of those.
yeah, sure, right. And I had to learn Visual Basic, and then I moved over, got a job at Transamerica, and that was in financial systems. So then I studied COBOL and job control language and things like that, so that I could talk to the programmers, the IBM mainframe programmers. And so I continued to get a really good kind of systems education. Not that I never became a programmer. I'm not that talented, but I did get a framework for understanding it. And I remember one day, this was one of those soul decisions that I think came really at the level of the thought adjuster. I said, I will not be left behind in technology. And I said it was like a vow. I mean, I shook with the energy of that. I will not be left behind. And I can look back now and I really see the footprints of the thought adjuster and the angels, that I had jobs that gave me a certain, appreciation of systems and computers. And so when we have Urantia University, it's an online school, then I was able to learn to do all of these things, be a website designer and learn HTML code and all this stuff, because I was prepared for that. So, and I really enjoy it. I love it. And I have an artistic soul, and so I enjoy the aesthetics of it and so forth. And then luckily, because I really was getting tired by 2019 from all the development work, Ariana Horn came to work for us. She's Merritt Horn's daughter, and she's absolutely just brilliant and talented and systematic, and embrace this with a great passion as well. So, we because she is a Yaya age, in her 30s, she deserves to be paid. So we are paying her. And so now we have some real, more serious financial commitments, because now we have Ari, and we want to bring on a third person in order to grow. So, but our donors are growing with us, and so far we're doing okay. So does that answer your question about how we're funded? And somebody, with the other night we had a meeting with our donors, actually, to recognize them and thank them. And Tom Allen said, he asked us about, don't you think you should be charging for your courses? And I had this idea, well, that's like selling water by the river, because it's like the Urantia book has been given for all humanity. And I feel like we have a moral obligation to give our programs out freely to people. But it may be that there's a middle ground here, and that as we develop, for example, the teacher training program, and right, does that make sense, people?
Yes.
And the spiritual well-being program, and we train people, and we have professionals who are working as mentors and instructors, that we do charge a fee for those kind of programs.
People take things more seriously that they pay for.
Yes.
Often. So, it's like the higher level courses, I think you could, and
thank you.
People would gravitate toward that. They'd be like, okay, well, I really appreciate this. It's not something I'm just, maybe doing.
Yes.
It's like something I've committed to do. And and then once you commit to do something and you've paid for it, you tend to stick with it, unless, you suss it out as total BS, then you
right.
investment.
But if it's worthwhile,
something to keep you going,
Yes.
Yeah, but Andrew, if I may say something, then there is that huge swath of people that when they have a need for spirituality, they usually are broke. And that is where this comes in so beautiful.
Okay.
Dwayne Faw, my dear friend, told me once, Bob, don't give the Urantia book away. Get money for it, because it means to people. And you know what?
My
wife
Dwayne,
and I have been giving them away for over 25 years, and we've never charged anyone anything. And, we've given away thousands. And you know what? I've seen hundreds of definite you know, where I believe that my adjuster has revealed to me, because sometimes I wonder, you know, was he right? Or, you know, and I've seen definite proof that it works. So I think there's two sides to that coin.
Mhm.
Those of us who have a few bucks can do it, and it does mean stuff. But you know what? People in trouble who don't need it more. And so I champion Elizabeth's choice greatly, and agreed there is room for money to pass hands. And generally, a person knows that and will slip them money anyway if they have it. But
And that's what's happening.
Yeah, right.
So there's two things here. One is that we're donation based, and many people respond to that. They realize, oh, there's a real world cost to all of this, and I want to give something back for what I'm receiving. But then there's also the psychological dimension of taking seriously what you have invested in. And if there's no, what they call it, money in the game, then you may not apply yourself. And I do see this with online
both
classes.
Sides. There's both sides. And I see that too. I mean, I'm not saying that that everything should cost money. I think that what you're doing, so much of what you're doing is so generous and so benevolent and such a good cause, really, really good cause. You know, I started a long time ago putting together a slide deck I was working on paper by paper and integrating, you know, like almost word for word, concept by sentence by sentence, some image or something that would go with that, and then the words would be there, and the image would be there, or the concept would be there, or maybe a short video, but putting it together as like on PowerPoint, actually the only way I knew how to do it. But I think videos and the things that you're creating are even better than that, you know, because the time and the energy that it took to do that was too much. I haven't gotten that far. But
That's a lot.
Well, you know, Andrew, maybe there's a way you can work with us.
I know. And I will. I want to, but it got to the point where with work and everything, I just couldn't keep doing it.
Yes. But you're on the right track, and we're on the same track. We're walking the same track. What you're doing or attempting to do or have done, and what we're currently doing. And we just realized we live in a digital age, and so people want to see pictures and video more than they want to read a lot of text, right?
Exactly.
So
they don't want to. They want it to be told to them. They want it to be, and with a video to go with it.
Yes.
Have you guys ever watched the History Channel?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
They've done such a good job of bringing history to life. And
here.
Elizabeth,
Yes.
I want to address both Bob and Andrew because I absolutely am with you both. And so when Andrew, when you were talking and you said accountability, that people get more in the engagement if there's a charge. Oh my God! For one periods in my life, I was a training director and I developed training programs for small companies, service companies, and in everything from a plumber to a hairdresser, and absolutely when they paid for it, it made a difference. Now on Bob's side of it, it was like when they're done, if they can, and we're talking about like $25 or $35, and then if they can't afford it, we get a sponsor, and that's so easy to do in this organization. The love of the Urantia book community. Oh my God, it's so easy to find that. So that's taken care of. But then, so that whole idea. So I'm taking the two of you and putting them in my pocket as the chairman of the board of the trustees. And so I don't make the motions. I don't do that, but I like put the seeds out there. Like, when are we going to do this? How can we do this? How can we do this? How can we do this?
No, thank you. I want to say thank you because this feedback personally is very significant to me.
Very helpful.
Having this discussion because what you think, I mean, who you are, your association with the Urantia book, I deeply respect. And
people who participate, Elizabeth and John, in life are busy, they're connected, they have friends, they're, you know,
Yes.
but let me tell you, there is a huge number that are not connected and
Right.
who love God and who, you know, and who need the Urantia book. We get half the books we give away are Spanish. And fortunately, I speak Spanish, so I'm able to communicate with the people that we associate with. And let me tell you, these people are broke.
Yeah.
And they work harder than anyone, and they're
Yeah.
fabulous people. And you know, and the same with other people who are going through something. They, you know, and people who understand how things work, they generally will just withdraw, and they won't because they don't want to tell you that they can't afford it.
Mhm.
So you know, that's why
Thank you.
outreach is so important for everyone. But that's just my thought.
I have to say something here. Elizabeth has additional to show us the classrooms, and she will need some time to do that. So also, I want to welcome Bob Ford. I don't think we've heard from you
Yeah.
joining us. We're so glad to see you. So give us a little hands up so we can hear from you too. But Elizabeth, if you would like to start.
I'll
your-
share the screen again. Yes. And I'd like to first take just a little tour of our website, and then we'll go into the classroom. Okay. And I have time now 4:41, and I need to wrap up before 5, correct?
Well, we can go over. There's no.
Oh, well, but I want to honor the
But we-
schedule. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Diane. All right. Let me share screen again. And here we go. So I'm on the Urantia University website here at urantiauniversity.org. And right at the top, we have little door, portals to the self-directed study program, our online classes, in the cafe. Because people asked about the cafe, let's go there first. Okay. So this is just a general description. I want to let you know that anybody who's in our database gets an email blast every Sunday evening with the schedule for the coming week, which lists the topic for each day and the presenter or the cafe moderator, whether it could be Andre Rodatis or Merritt Horn or Bennett, could be John, Marvin Gowan, myself, Stuart Kerr sometimes, Mike Painter, and Jeff Taylor and Susan Myers are also wonderful frequent hosts in the cafe. So there's the schedule. This was this past week. Give you a shot. So Merritt is doing an ongoing series on the parables, comparing what the New Testament says with how it's presented in the Urantia book. I did a cafe on Tuesday on personality growth and unification. We had a midweek communion, a worship service led by April Helen and Susan Myers. Thursday, we didn't have a session because we had another large meeting. And then Andre always fills the Friday night slot. He loves that. And he's doing a series now on the Mansion Worlds. Okay, if you keep going down, you're going to see, then scroll down for whoever was interested in knowing about, I think that was Bob, maybe someone else, about past sessions. So we started March 24th with the first session. This is like an Airtable. We can look at it in a large version. And here you'll see the title is here on the left, the date that we presented it. Here are the Urantia book passages that were used in that cafe. And let me see if I can scroll over here. And then we have the discussion questions as well, and then who the moderator was. And we just, again, because it's just myself and Ari Horn doing everything, we're not able to keep up with downloading and editing the videos every day and then uploading them to our Vimeo website. But we do some of them on demand. Okay, so let me go back, scroll here. You can see this is the list with the citations and questions of all the topics we've had for almost a year now. It's right here on the left. Can you see my screen? Is it big enough?
It's real small.
Oh, let me make it bigger here. Sorry, but I should have asked that right
There
off
you
the bat. How's
Oh,
that?
there it is.
Looking
No,
at
there it is.
Yay! Yeah, okay. Well, then let me just show you once more. If you scroll over, you'll see the citations that go with the topic. We asked usually three or four more discussion questions, and then it tells you the moderator in this column here. Okay, so I'm just going to scroll down through some of them. There's over 300 now.
And Elizabeth, did I hear you correctly? And you said there's not a link to the audio or video recap?
No, unfortunately, we just can't keep up with. It takes about an hour to 2 hours to do the whole, the downloading from Zoom and then edit it and then upload it to Vimeo and post it.
You have some of them, right?
We have some of them, and you'll see, and some of them could be on demand. I have downloaded most of them to my computer. So if you'll see a recording link if there is one. Like here, this one was done on the one I did on metanoia and the unselfish religion of Jesus.
Who asked that question? Who asked that question?
I think Andrea did.
Yeah, and
What?
Okay, so
I
just
did.
No,
Andrea, who's that? Was that you?
Yeah, that was
Need
me.
to help.
I know. If I wasn't so busy, I would totally offer to
Aren't we all?
I know that's the problem, but we are looking for a volunteer that we could train, and we give them access to our, our Zoom account and
Yeah.
help us with the downloading, and then just very light video editing, and then uploading it to our Vimeo site. And then we could make it available to everyone. But so I don't want to. There's over 300 topics, but are you getting a flavor,
Yeah.
an idea?
Oh, yeah.
We've covered many different parts of the Urantia book.
Oh, yeah.
Very impressive.
Very
Okay,
fruitful.
all right. So just hundreds of them, and it'll just keep growing. Okay, so
Yeah.
let's get out of the air table. Let me see if I can get back here. Yep. So that's the UUI Cafe. Pardon me while I scroll up to the menu. Let me go back home and. Let me close that. Okay.
You got
Then
a lot of stuff open. There you go.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I need to have the self-directed study program. Okay. Let's go there next. The self-directed study program. We just introduced this in actually no, it's probably more like November, October, November. This is the main view, the overview of the whole program. There are links here to the paper studies for each part of the book. Okay, and then you can also read the book online.
Can you, again, Elizabeth, just enlarge slightly?
Okay, yes, I will.
Slightly?
Yep. Oh, yeah, I should go back to 150. So how's that?
It's a little, that's better. It was a little fuzzy.
Let me go one more. How's that?
It's good. Yeah.
All right, good. I want it to work for everybody.
Much better.
Okay, so independent study, you get the message. We have office hours. This was the first group of courses that we brought out from a tour of the Urantia book, the forward and paper one. Well, there's many more, and you can. This is some of the papers from part one, but let's pick, for example, this is so much fun. The forward. So, okay, so you could, if you read all this, you say, yeah, I want to take this course. Then you slide on over here. And I'm going to log in. We'll get you set up with an account. And let me log in as an instructor. And you can see these are just some of the courses that we have.
Isn't that amazing? They've developed this many courses.
Yep. Yep. And then, so these representative papers were kind of going in linear order from part one, part two, part three, part four. Every, month or 2 months, we release more self-study guides. We're also, I have access to these. This is the teacher training program that we're developing online classes for. Here's the Be of Good Cheer. And, but I want to go down to, where did I want to go? Let's see. Okay, I was just kind of scrolling to let you see. Let's go look at go back up and look at the forward. Okay, and Merritt Horn prepared this, so you know it's
Oh, wow.
it is very meticulous.
Yeah.
So there's, of course, this is a typical page. Let me just show you one. Go back to this is the classroom homepage. Okay, and these are learning units, and you simply proceed.
Again, can you up?
Oh, I'm sorry. You know what?
Enlarge.
Thank you. It reverts when I change the
I'll
page.
just, yeah, if you
Thank
hear
you.
me say enlarge, you know what it means.
I do, and I'll respond immediately. Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Okay, so here's a look at, this is, every classroom has a homepage. The format, someone asked earlier about the format. It's in a series of learning units. Some of them are organized by week, like each week of the course has a set of learning units, a lesson plan for that week. And it's usually composed of reading assignments, videos, supplemental materials, reflective questions.
Can
And
you,
let's,
Elizabeth, can you click on one of those highlights or yeah,
yes.
the summary there?
Yeah, let me, let's see.
Wow, that picture was nice too.
Oh yeah, let's go back there then. This was the summary about the forward and the structure.
Mm-hmm.
So again, this is you know, Merritt Horn. After year, as we know, he's one of the readers of the whole Urantia book, and he's on the SRT committee. So he has every single printing of the Urantia book in his library at home. He really truly knows it inside out. So here he talks about the organization of the forward. It's a really wonderful way to just, everybody here knows we've all read the forward, but we can still grow in our understanding of it. And we can expand our framework for the content that's in it. So I'm just going to slowly scroll. I hope I'm not going too fast. I just want to give you an idea of, and again, any one of you could, after the meeting today or tomorrow, you could just go to our website and sign up for this class on the forward, and you just study it at your own pace. Okay. So
Elizabeth, if they just want to go and kind of explore, it's very simple to sign up just to be
Yeah. I'll go back to how we signed it up. Now here's highlights from each section of the forward. All right. And again, you can advance from unit to unit simply by going, you can click on this arrow.
Oh, that's great. Wow. Oh, I love it. That's going to be so easy to read and follow.
Yes.
Awesome.
And there's some, Stuart Kerr is helping us too. He's supplying the lexicon, you know, for the language in the book. So we've got a PDF file available on that. And here's the reading assignment, which is the forward. And then let's see what's next. Then there's modules, reference modules here. You can also go take a tour of the Urantia book. We have a whole nother self-study guide, which tours the whole book. And then on the learner module page, we have, you know, more links to other websites. This is the lexicon that Stuart developed. And
can you scroll down just a little bit right there?
Oh yeah, let me go back.
Oh, wonderful. That's what we've been needing.
Wow.
And then you click here to see the whole thing. Okay. And then you just click next down here. Now here's, we included, you know, what Bill Sadler Jr. had to say and his simplification of the book. Let me go back here to the main classroom homepage and just scroll down so you can see. It's organized this way. First, master the content. Explore all these different resources that are available to augment your study. We have a quiz.
Wow.
Okay. So every class has a quiz.
Wow.
Okay, so you'd answer that. And then we've got, let's see, reflective questions. Again, all of this was all created by Merritt Horn.
Wow. Elizabeth, do you all keep track of how many attendants you have?
Yes,
You do.
And yep, we have, and we can keep track of their progress as well.
Right. And you know, when people just get on and then hit and then decide to leave, they're not interested.
Yeah, and what we find is people, you know, they go in, they work for a while, they might leave for a while, then they come back and do some more work. They can submit papers to us,
Wow.
and we're excerpting really, you know, just interesting pieces of writing, and we're putting it on a Thought Gems page so that, you know, the individual students can share their insights with the rest of the learning community.
Oh yeah, then it makes them part of the process. That's great.
And then we've got a section here like advanced reflective questions. So this would be for you guys, you know, that are longtime students of the Urantia book. And Merritt has posed several questions here.
Wow.
So all of this can be entered in your own journal at home because you are working on your own, but you can also submit your work to the school. Okay, you can upload a file. You could, maybe you want to respond with a video. You can upload that. You can record an audio file and send that. So this is true for all of our online courses. And students can even text their answers to the instructor. Okay.
This is amazing.
Awesome.
That's
Yeah, so that's what our classroom looks like. Let me go back here again, scroll down. Isn't it? So they're all like this. We tend to have a page where you could just write down, you know, what are your favorite passages. That's just another way of having the student go back to the paper, study it again, tell us what your favorite passages are, you know, and enter that in your journal, and that's going to reinforce the lessons, and as well as give you a record, you know, of your favorite passages and where they're located in the book. And then every class has an audio recording of the paper.
Great.
Okay, that's Merritt Horn's reading. And then most every class has a meditation exercise for the worship part of the class. Okay.
Excellent. Wow. What a lot of extensive work. This is great.
So this is why we can't just do it. I'll just stop share for a second. It's going to take a while to do it because we are aiming for a certain level of excellence and I would say repleteness. And we want to be very careful that it's structured for beginners, but it also has some challenges for the intermediate and advanced students.
Wow.
So again, John asked, how would a person sign up? So let me share again and go back here. So this is the home page. Let's say I want to go look and see what's in part 1. So this is part 1 of the book. Are you ready to sign up? These are the steps. Okay, so I'm just going to scroll down. We have some videos, you know, how to get started, step-by-step instruction videos, how to use our learning management system. And then you just go down here. Whoops, let me scroll down here. Whoop. And just pick whatever course you want.
Okay, it went fuzzy. It went fuzzy.
Say what, John?
It went fuzzy. You had to wait for a moment.
Okay.
Okay.
Clear
All
now.
right. Is it okay now?
Yeah,
Fine.
I didn't go fuzzy for me.
Okay. So you go to our website, you go to self-directed study. It's right there on the home page, the landing page of our website. Click on self-directed classes. And then you can go to, there's a different page, web page for each part of the book. And then you can see this Airtable, which displays the courses that are available right now. Okay.
So the other question, Elizabeth, if they just wanted to come onto our site
Yes.
and and just sign up so that they get our notifications.
Yeah,
You know,
then
our blasts.
yes, then when you sign up, it'll give you a chance to enter your name and your
Where would they do that?
email. It'll be on the home page. I'm already subscribed, so
Oh,
Okay,
Gotcha, it would be on the
but if,
homepage.
yes, but it's right there on the
That might be
homepage.
the,
You
that
can,
might be the very first thing they could do if they haven't done it, because that
yeah,
gives them access to kind of look through all the stuff that's there without
Yeah.
signing up for a course.
yeah. And of course, we got the Google Translator here so that people can, you know, they can switch to another language if they want to translate the site.
That is amazing.
Oh,
Yeah.
that is amazing.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's Google Translator. And you guys, any one of you could put it onto any website. You just have to embed the code on each page.
Really?
And then
Not 100%.
yeah, no, it needs a lot of improvement, but at least it's a start.
It's a start, yeah.
And then, by the way, we have a search engine here, and it's Barry Clark's from the New York Society. He put his search engine on our website, which we're very grateful for. So now we've looked then at the self-directed study. We've looked at the cafe. Let me just see. What else did I have? Oh, I just want to show you, for example, like paper 132. Mark Blackham did this. He's one of our course developers, and it's just
Enlarge.
Yep. Here we go.
thank you.
Yeah. So, you know, every page has lovely artwork. It's just a brief kind of a summary of the paper. And then, again, highlights of each section. And then there's the reading assignment.
Yeah.
Okay. And let me see if he put that. Yeah. You can also just download the PDFs.
How cool that map that you can see where that is so great.
Whoa. And there's a reference module. And let's see what we got. Again, key terms. Who are the cynics? What's an idealist, materialist? So we try to do that for each class. And pick out terms that appear in the paper and give some background. Now, because Mark is kind of like a historian and he's also an anthropologist, he enhances his self-study guides with notes of interest.
That's exactly exactly the kind of thing that, you know, I was trying to do too, was to pull in, you know, what we know historically, what we know scientifically that complements that, and say, look, you know, this is what we found, this is your answer book says about this in these papers, and see how they complement or contradict each other. And you know, but not try to draw a conclusion around that, but just present it in that way.
Yes.
You know, here's where we are, this is where we're going, folks. Look.
Now that's a real
this is how we're being enlightened by the Urantia book, you know.
Yeah, and this is where evolution and revelation intersect. The revelators intended for us to make these connections and to, you know, to me, it's like in the yeast, right? We're infusing contemporary disciplines, whether it's, you know, astrophysics, cosmology, or it could be economics and government, it could be education, it could be religion, philosophy, infuse that with, you know, the wisdom of the Urantia book. So we want to make these links. So we're doing exactly what you wanted to do, Andrew.
Well, I know, I see that. Yeah, and it's great. Do you have one paper or one course that's just about the history of the Urantia book itself? Because that's often people's first question. Well, where did it come from? You know, who wrote that? You know, I mean, we got Nazis out there, just want to know who wrote that. And, you know, you got to answer that question. You got to be up front about it and say, you know, and tell them that, you know, it did, you know, basically come through a medium. I mean,
and I let me just look in the tour of the Urantia book.
Elizabeth?
Yeah,
one of our very, very first programs was the one that Andre Redavis did, introducing the book.
Yes.
Hold on, boy.
But that's but he's not giving the history. I think Andrew's after the history of the movement. And by the way, Guard Jameson and Carolyn Kendall, who has graduated to the Mansion Worlds, and Marilyn Kulicki are working on a really authoritative history of the Urantia movement. And it's probably about 80% done now.
Right.
I hope by the end of 2021, we will see another very definitive book on the history
See,
of the ranch, of the Revelation, the Contact Commission, the Revelatory Commission, and the early history in Chicago.
Do you have any new information that isn't already out there to put in this, or?
Yeah, I think, yeah, there will be some new information in there.
Wow, how exciting.
Okay,
I
so
think it's, I
can't
think
wait.
I think it's more how it's organized.
That's
is the
true.
most important thing.
But there will be some new documents in there and references that came from
For sure.
yeah, her dad's or father-in-law, was it his
Sadler's
his
father-in-law.
journals, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
May I ask something? Do you, is the university ever approached by non-readers out of curiosity, or have you, I just. was
Let's
wondering.
hope so.
I'm gonna say
We get Google hits.
yes, but the question is, I just want to see if they haven't entered. We will be adding to this particular tour of the Urantia book a little bit of the history of the Urantia book. It's just not uploaded yet. But your question is, has anybody non-readers contacted us?
Yeah.
And I get all the correspondence. I get anything that comes into admin or info at Urantia University. And yeah, we do get some general inquiries from time to time, but they have an interest. They maybe haven't read the book yet, or they just know a little bit about it, and they write for more information. But we've not been invited to, talk at a university yet about the Urantia book, for example. But someday.
Thank you.
No TED Talks coming up anytime soon, huh, Elizabeth?
Oh, but that's an idea, isn't it? Was that
There we
Marie?
go.
That was Marie. Oh, okay. I'm capturing that idea, Marie.
Our day is due.
Elizabeth, I wanted to tell you something that Andrea shared with me that impressed me. In the old days, if we started a study group, we would put an ad in the paper. Urantia book readers gather together at so-and-so's home, and that's how we did it. But Andrea went beyond that. She would put an ad in the paper saying, do angels really exist? She would ask some key question that anybody could be wondering about. And she said, if you want to talk about it, or Andrea could tell us better, call this number. And they would call her up, and she would then start exploring interest, including the Urantia book.
Well, what I would do is I made a 2 or 3 minute taped recording, and I would tell people that if they call the number, they would get a recording, which I think was very unthreatening. Okay, I'll listen to a 2-minute recording about this book. And then if they wanted more information, they could leave their name and address, and I would hard copy mail them information about the Urantia book. So that was in San Diego back in the early 80s.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
That's very applicable now. We could still find some technological way to put out the question that's pretty unthreatening, pretty neutral, something many people have an interest in, and draw them into a discussion in that way, which is very non-threatening. I really think that that's how put some an interesting question out there that anybody could be curious about.
Yeah.
John, may I just respond to Andrea and Diane? We are talking about this, and Claire Thurston is heading up, she's on our board, and she is heading up a project basically to design this kind of series of communications questions that will be put out on Instagram. So we're really going to work on reaching out through Instagram, maybe, Facebook to some extent as well, with these questions that people ask. We know that we still live in a society that, where fewer people are going to institutional churches, but people still believe in God, at least in this country. A majority do. A majority believe in life after death. A majority believe in angels. Okay, so there's all kinds of ways that we can connect with their values, with their belief systems, without getting all religious and dogmatic about it. We go meet them where they are, right, Andrea, Diane?
And look at your cafe questions. You've already accumulated 200 questions that have come up from maybe non-religious people.
Yes, yes. And I think the cafe is a great way to branch out to people who they're curious about the soul. They're curious about spiritual life. They're curious about, well, what is the mind? What is consciousness? There's no substantive answers about that. It's the biggest question in neuroscience, has to do with mind and consciousness. And so, we can design approaches to people who are interested in the mind, people who are interested in the soul. They feel they have a soul. They feel that life doesn't end at death. Something happens. What is that? So asking questions is a great way to engage that curiosity and that set of values.
So Elizabeth.
Just to interrupt real quick, I have to say goodbye, you guys. I've got another thing right now. So,
And you did, no, wait, Andrea, 60 seconds. I'm just asking you for 60 seconds more.
Sure.
So Elizabeth, you just said we, but here's the thing. What we need is we need somebody to just come and help us a little bit with that. And Andrea, if there's any possibility that you could loan us an hour for a month, an hour here, a half an hour there, and work with us in the term of marketing.
I would love that. I've been doing marketing.
I know
your whole lot. Yes.
So yeah, see, now I've been a web developer for 25 years, so I got all kinds of new tips and tricks in that department. So,
okay.
Thank you.
Andrea, nice to see you. Catch you on Symmetry of Soul. And tell Kermit I said hi. Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Goodbye. I'm going to sign off as well. Nice to see you guys, Diane and
Bob, where are you
Cheryl.
from? Where are you?
Orange County.
Orange County. Okay.
Bob, give me a call.
Okay. I was going to ask you, tell us your coins. Do you still see them? Tell them I said hi.
I see very little of them. They're all recovering from the virus.
Yeah. I talked to Pierre about 3 or 4 months. No, I take it back. It must have been before the pandemic. We were going to get together and play a little guitar. I haven't talked to him in years.
Oh.
So tell them I'll say hello. Good to see you too, Phil. Catch you on Symmetry and Soul. Okay. Bye, everybody.
Bye, Bob.
Well, that was amazing, Elizabeth. I just am even more impressed than I was when I went in on your website. So the more people we can drive to your website, that alone will spread the word about this work you're doing. And I just keep thinking of the KCET model of paying, where you pay a certain amount every month. And in your case, you give away a whole lot free, but to move up scale, to start paying a monthly fee and have access to any course you have, that's one model for adding some money into the mix. Cheryl?
Mm-hmm. Yes. I love how they operate. And they've been very successful, PBS, haven't they?
Mm.
Oh, PBS, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And the way that they, have their periodic fundraising. John, are you saying bye-bye? You have another Zoom meeting, right?
You're muted.
You're muted, John.
I need to sign off. I have other things that I've got to take care of, and both physical as well as business wise.
We understand.
So,
Okay.
I just wanted to say thank you, Diane, for coming up with the idea of having us share, because this has been a wonderful sharing. I love you all. I'm looking forward to seeing you all at one time or another, again and again and again. Mwah!
I'm going to sign off too.
Thank you.
Bye.
We're going.
Very nice to be with you.
I need to sign off also. Thank you,
Okay.
Elizabeth,
Bye-bye.
Diane.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Melinda,
Thank you.
Elizabeth,
Oh,
Yes.
I have a couple comments for your funding.
Yes.
One, when the last thing when Diane was talking about PBS, it gave me an idea that maybe you can have a passive place on your homepage for people that want to support. And then you can put the level of support that they wish to do or they feel comfortable with.
Okay.
And also maybe an annual fundraiser.
Yes.
That could be fun. That could
And
be
we do, I want to say we do that, and you may not be in our database, maybe you're not aware, but every fall we do have a campaign, and it's usually very successful. In other words, we raise the money that we need for the next year's operating budget.
Awesome.
So yeah, so thank you. You're thinking exactly right. We probably could be a little more out there on our homepage about donations, but we do have it there at the top of the menu. There is a place to click, and then we've got a very nice donate page that.
Is it a 501c3?
We are a 501c3. Indeed, we are.
Okay.
We got that designation in 2011.
Great.
He's a nonprofit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Elizabeth, could you
Yes.
please put in your email address? We're gonna.
I'll put it into, yes. And Marie,
Thank
boy,
you.
I welcome you if you want to work with us. I will.
Yes, I do. I have a lot on my plate, like
Yes.
everyone else.
Like
yes.
everybody, I know.
Right. Tom and I have just gotten involved in the Stepping Stones project, and that's pretty consuming.
Yes. But if there's something that you clicked with, that one area of the work that we're doing.
Sure.
Can you see? So it's Elizabeth with an S. My mother did that to me. She put an S in there instead of a Z.
Guarantee. I think that's somehow helpful. I'm not sure why.
But yeah,
You're not a real Elizabeth?
Say again?
You mean you're not a real Elizabeth?
No, I just an Elizabeth without a Z.
Yeah.
I love my name though. I really love my name.
Be happy to know that when I put you into Google, after nothing came up, I put in Urantia with the wrong spelling, of course, with Z.
Oh.
And they said, well, how about Elizabeth with an S? So you came up that way.
Oh, good. I haven't.
A little more unique. Yeah.
So you're
I'm glad to hear that.
Get an alternative spelling.
But I've heard it before too.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give another plug for why working with the school would be actually easier. Andrew, the project that you had taken on or attempted was, like you said, overwhelming. You just got so many things to do. You couldn't complete it, but it was something that you connected to. And I've always wanted to do this, get this teaching out there in a visual way, not just the book, but illustrate the book sort of, which is ridiculously ambitious. But by working with the school, now the things you've been dreaming of doing and feeling like inadequate to do and can never get it done, with the school, it can get done. And it isn't all your effort. It's other people's doing what you always wanted to do anyway.
It goes
No, I
back to
totally agree. Yeah.
teamwork. Right.
It's a great relief to have the school there to work out your dream for you, with you.
Well, yeah, no, it's very inspiring to have all these people, working and having done all this work ahead of me. And it's just fantastic. And I'd like to leverage that. One of the things that I keep thinking about and keep kind of planning for in my mind is to reach out to the History Channel Ancient Aliens series.
Yeah.
And get them to do a spot, get them to do an entire show on the Urantia book.
Wow.
In terms of their history of Urantia.
I'm sorry, Andrew. Pato Bonson has actually done that at one of his family gatherings. He brought the producer of that show to his gathering, and Eric Samaras kind of rallied with, he went back and forth with him about the concept of where some of these ancient alien thoughts have come from. So there is a door there Yeah, they had kind of a debate. There is a door there through Pato to make that happen.
Okay, who are you talking about?
Pato
Pato
Bonton?
Bonton.
You know Pato Bonton, the reggae singer that's involved with your ranch book?
Pato Bantan.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, of course. I know
Pato.
Pato Bantan. Yes,
Yes.
I've met him
Yeah.
personally. I've gone to his concerts. I've
Yes.
worshiped with him. I know him. Yeah, I
Good.
know
Yes.
him.
He has a
And-
connection with with that producer. He's actually done something along those lines. So he's someone to connect to about that series.
Well, I figured somebody may have, and that's why I brought it up here to find out. And so thank you for sharing that with me.
Yeah.
When did he do that and what was the
He
outcome?
did it in 2013 at his family gathering in May 2013. He did.
Okay, so it's been a while,
Yeah.
and there are new producers.
No,
of that
sorry.
show.
Sorry, Andrew. It was 2016. I got the years mixed up. It was
That's
2016
fine.
he did it.
It's still been a long time, and
Yeah.
you know, maybe I don't know. I mean,
I don't think so.
Pato has one approach,
Yeah, sure.
and
But he does have the
maybe he
connection
needs-
to the producer.
maybe the
and that's
producers
all I'm
need to hear
letting
a
you
different
know.
approach.
Yeah. But he knows how to
we-
connect with the producer.
You know, those of
so-
us who've read the book for a long time, I mean, we must also ask ourselves, you know, introducing a book like that through, you know, ancient beings and all that, you know, how many more people might that turn off as opposed to a spiritual approach to the Urantia book? And of
Jake?
course, there's two ways. Go ahead, Andrew. I saw a reaction. What did you think?
So I've watched the series. I've seen how they approach philosophies, religions, history. They approach it with, you know, what if this were true? What if this is a possibility? They don't approach it, they say this is, they say, what if? They open the idea up and they keep it as an open question. They don't try to answer the question in the segment, in the series. I don't know if you've watched Ancient Aliens, but every time I watch it, I get inspired by their approach.
love that.
They keep it open. They don't try to close the book. They don't try to make a final statement about it. But their question is, you know, what if we're not alone here? Look at all the evidence for why we're not alone. They've done series after series after series of why we're not alone in this universe, what all the UFO sightings mean, how the history of that, the history of visitations through art, music, literature, and they've integrated. I think they're reading the book. You know, every time I watch that, I'm like, God, they've read the book, man, and they
Like,
know
this would be a
this.
good
And
thing, yeah.
ultimately, they're leading up to a segment on the book. It would make so much sense for them to, you know, culminate. Honestly, I mean, after all the work they've done, showing the history of our contact with aliens from a historical point of view, from stuff that they can get on this earth, not from the Urantia book, and then to complement that with, oh, by the way, there's also a revelation about what we've been telling you for the past, I don't even know how many years this has been going on, but they've been doing this for years. And to culminate that with the revelation, it would just make sense. I mean, I don't see how they could leave it out.
It probably had, it sounds like a documentary though on it too. I mean,
What's that?
it sounds like a documentary on the
It's-
Urantia book, which would probably include some history as well. But you know, you could rough it out from here. You've got the template.
Yeah, well, you know, I approach strangers with the Urantia book, and I've been doing it for about 25 years. And one of the things, the reason I'm successful, I think, is that they haven't heard of it. And if they've heard about it on TV about, oh yeah, the alien. Oh, right. You wonder about that. I wonder if the reason so many people haven't heard about it is because the angelic order or the government of the universe knows that it's not ready to be mainstream. I'm not saying it's not, but I'm saying that my personal experience with people all over the world, before I give them a Urantia book, they've never heard of it. I'm talking about total strangers. When people start hearing about it, that's when it's, I don't know. I'm just putting it out there. Maybe I'm wrong.
It's bound to happen. Look what's happening with UUI. Look what's happening right now. We're talking about it. People are chiming in. People have been invited to this who have never read the Urantia book. I invited people who have never read the Urantia book to join this very meeting so they could find out about UUI. They said, "Oh, sorry, Andrew, I've got other things to do."
But what, Andrew, if they'd said to you, "Is that the book I saw on TV about the aliens?" I don't, tell me about
That's fine. But look, it is what it is. It's got to go out there.
And the
It's going to go
book
out there.
is a
It's going to be
profound
presented by
revelation, and I don't know whether it should be
So, Bob-
in the public consciousness through some series about aliens, and that's just
Well,
my
Bob, we're never gonna know. And the university is gonna keep going on and encountering whatever bumps it encounters, but we'll let it flow. Whatever ideas come through, if they work, and they will flow, because we know we've got some unseen friends out there doing a little prep work for us, perhaps. So I don't think we need to worry too much about creating a bad image. It's always, ever since I started reading the book, I remember Rocky Ventola. Anybody remember her? She was.
Thank you, Diane.
She did a wonderful skit for us one time. And she did this, she pretended she was a reporter for a newspaper. And she had heard something about the Urantia book. So she said, so I'm going to get you to tell me what you can. So she made us pretend that we were just Urantia book readers. And she would give us very pointed questions. Now, what about this book? And we would stumble out something, and she would come back with a very sharp criticism. What do you mean about that? You must be blah, 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 trying to make connections to negative things. She really gave us a going over. She says, if you're going to be out there spreading the book, you are going to have to be prepared for this. This is what the newspapers are going to do. They're going to crucify you. They're going to this, they're going to that. So, I don't know if we went underground after that, but we realized we'd better be well prepared to go out there. Look what Jesus did with the apostles. He prepared them to go out there into the world in some way. I wish we could have him prepare us. Maybe he is preparing us. But I think of the courage that those apostles had to have to go out there and say something that was not in line with what's current, but they had that courage. And I guess the Holy Spirit was what egged them on. But I think we have to lean on the Holy Spirit if we're going to go out there and do anything. Look what the school has done. They've been courageously putting it out there in a most excellent way. Roxanne would be very proud of how you've prepared to spread the word in a way that's, I don't think anybody who sees your website would be offended, and yet they would be mightily swayed in the direction that we would hope they would be. So go for it.
I see Cheryl has had her hand up. Yeah.
I'd just like to add on that whole train that there's two things that come to mind. The act is ours, the consequence is God's.
Oh, yeah.
We need to put the stuff out that we're asking to be led to do, and then allow the Spirit of Truth and their individual adjuster to do their own work. It's not up to us to do the work of the adjuster or the Spirit of Truth. They're here as adjunct helpers for us to get the word out and to get it received.
Yay, yay.
I agree with that.
Those who have ears, let them hear, and let them hear in a big way.
Where can
That's how I feel about it. I'm not going to be on this earth much longer. I really feel that now more than ever. And, if I'm going to do something, I just feel like there's a format.
Yes.
There are formats out there that are much broader than, and they're being tapped now. So all this work that's being done at UUI, all this work that's being done by other outreach programs, look at what you've done. You've reached all around the world. It's amazing. Excellent, excellent work. Okay.
Agree.
And that's the groundwork for the next
Groundwork.
step. Boom,
The scaffolding.
the whole world today and the whole world squared tomorrow. I don't know.
I think we are really the foundation builders.
Yeah.
And it's in the centuries to come that the numbers will grow. But I think all of us are about the work of laying the foundation for institutions that will last into the future and learn how to use worldwide communication channels very effectively to get the message out there. I think that's the challenge. I mean, this came right before the digital age. And I think we're in the process now of learning how to use that effectively. Somebody like David Cantor is working diligently, right? Just to create, and a lot of people are, just even little one, a quote and a picture, and that could reach maybe thousands or someday hundreds of thousands of people. He's waiting for something to really go viral in a big way, to make a connection. But I still have to say, what I notice is we're still very much in the materialistic age. And that really is the mindset of a lot of people. But we also know that there's a growing number of people, this downward spiritual pressure being exerted. And I think we really are in a time of spiritual awakening from this materialistic age. And that's going to take, years and years, hundreds of years to transition. But I really believe that we are at the beginning of transitioning to a higher spiritual civilization.
So
maybe 1,000 years.
I think you're right, Elizabeth. And I just want to get back to Bob's question real quick. Bob, so I hear you. I mean, I don't want to jeopardize the Ranch book in any way. I'm not out to do that, and so I hear the caution. And I feel it. I mean, why haven't I done anything yet? Well, I'm unsure what to do, how to do, and I haven't, fully put that together yet. And I don't want to do it alone. It's like, I don't feel like it's my right or prerogative to just, do something that would jeopardize the ranch movement. I've been in it for a very long time. It goes all the way back to 70s, but I haven't been really active in it. I've been a participant, but I haven't been a vocal participant. And I feel like in my life, I'm close to a time when that's got to change, before my life is over. Just gotta go start doing more outreach and more education and more dissemination of what I know to be true. And so, I mean, I've reached a lot of people, but I've done that on an individual basis.
As you pass by is what
What's
Jesus
that?
taught. Jesus taught as you pass by.
Yeah, I know. That's
what Jesus did was as he passed by. So when you
that's
get
how
up,
he did it.
every time you leave the house, you're passing by. So there is your opportunity. Every human being that you interact with, just my thought. I'm saying that, if you were to say to yourself, well, the COVID virus is here and I only go out once a month. Well, that's when you're out.
No.
So, just a thought to begin.
We're out right now. I mean, right? We're communicating.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Andrew, it seems like you have a whole lot to give. And, I can see I have the feeling too, I've probably got fewer years left than anybody, but, and there is this urgency that comes up. I haven't done all those things I intended to and planned on and got ideas about. I got to do something quick. So the outpouring that could come from tapping just what it seems you have and all of us have, with the school to be there as a stage to play it out on, to even they're just hungry for ideas from us. So there's so much that we could share with very little effort even with the school. And I'm just so delighted that it's there. So I'm issuing a invitation to outpour all of those ideas and thoughts and frustrations that you wanted to do, and they're eager to receive them and move them into action and words and inspiration. So I'm overwhelmed with the opportunity that now opens up today. In fact, I can't wait to see this civilizations thing. I've heard of it, but I don't know how to access it. I want to see that because I too have an interest in how the things went down before. There's a lot of teachings that happened that the Urantia book, well, I won't even go into that. But at any rate, there's an opportunity here for us to outpour the leadings of the Holy Spirit with the help of the school or even any other groups that we come into contact with. So working together is the best news I've had in a long time, an opportunity to link together. So thank you.
As Elizabeth mentions, that is one of the main things that they have us doing in the Morancho worlds, is learning how to get along with others and work being in the various work groups. And at first, it's 9 of us with somebody else, a different kind of person, a humanoid. And then later on, we're the only one. And they got 9 of those.
That Univitation in Edentia, in the constellation. Yes, yes.
Yeah. I'm also, I with respect to how this is going to move or evolve, I keep wondering how close is close proximity, those 2 words, because if there's a non-breather world that we discover from Perseverance on Mars, well, it won't be on Mars, I suppose.
Oh, Phil, may I interrupt you for just a minute? There are some more topics to be discussed, I can see. If Elizabeth can bear with us, would anyone like to grab their takeout and start eating while we're continuing this discussion?
Well, we should have a remembrance if we're starting to eat, but I don't know, we might skip that because people seem to want us to keep talking.
Yeah, I've got more to ask you too, Elizabeth. So,
Yeah, and I'm still thawing out some chicken and have to wash my lettuce and everything to make what I call Elizabeth salad for dinner. So I don't have anything to eat right now. And when the meeting ends, then I'll go fix dinner for John. So I'm fine to I'm here to just continue the conversation.
Oh, thank you so
Philip,
much.
you were saying.
Yeah.
Well, grab your food, anyone that wants to, and we'll keep right
I have my water.
Yeah.
So Philip, what were you saying, my friend?
Yeah, go ahead, Philip.
Well,
the non-breathers.
Yeah, it says you would be more than interested in this kind of culture world, because a sphere with that culture exists in close proximity to Urantia. They don't say a world, they say a sphere. And I don't know, and then later on they say, oh, by the way, if the moon would be inhabited, then it would be a non-breather type because everything else is good. They're at the right distance, but unfortunately there's no air. So, I used to think, well, it can't be on the moon. I'm not so sure so anymore, because I keep thinking close proximity, if that's in the solar system, I suppose that might be close proximity. I don't think it could be a nearby sun, could it?
Oh, no, because the nearest other solar systems are light years away.
Well, 4.3 light years to be exact, Alpha Centauri. So, is that close? Well, depends on what the relative distances are.
It is a relevant term. Yeah.
So, I mean, close proximity seems like it's got to be close by rather than, at another star. But
I agree.
In Nebadon.
No.
But I think it's in our solar system.
Yeah.
And I think some of our science fiction writers have been intuitive about that. And like Arthur C. Clarke, for example. and writing about, remember the monoliths in 2001, 2010, 2030. I read those books each several times, and didn't he have his finger on Europa? I really, when I read that the first time, I thought they meant our solar system and possibly a moon of Jupiter. Maybe it's Mars. I don't know.
Yeah, I would
They're
say
looking for life.
Jupiter, because Mars has, they say it would be a super breather, and a sub breather. A sub breather, I guess, is Mars, and a super breather would be Venus. And a non-breather would be like our moon, if it should happen to be inhabited.
Mm-hmm.
But there's supposed to be foliage and animal life. It would have to all be underground, right?
Yes. Well, that could be with Mars. It could be underground.
Well, Mars, they say, could be, it has an atmosphere. So they say such an adaptation, they give one. It's not a non-breather.
Mm-hmm.
Mars is I believe, a sub-breather. I've got to have those reversed. And Venus is possible as a super breather.
Mm-hmm.
And Earth is possible, or rather, Earth obviously is a mid-breather. And the moon would be a non-breather. And they don't mention it right at the same spot. It's elsewhere. But
Phil, one of the interesting things to me in the Urantia book is they only speak about travel between evolutionary worlds and system worlds. I can't recall anywhere in the Urantia book where they talk about mortals on one evolutionary sphere using spaceships to travel to another evolutionary sphere. There's no mention of that.
No,
and I wonder, would they allow that? Because it seems to me that's not the way, the framework that they've set up. It's like we're meant to evolve here on our own planet, and from here we die, we escape our mortal body, we go to the next stage, which is the Morontia existence.
Yeah, but you know what? They also say that in Satania, there are several solar systems that have at least two.
Yes, that's true.
And one with four, and several, and 2 or 3, or some number with 3. So apparently, eventually, they expect these cultures to get in contact with one another. And again, why would they mention that in the Urantia book unless they wanted to, alert us? And I'll tell you, if we ever find that in this solar system, a lot of people are going to say, "What? This book actually mentions that?"
Yeah,
exactly.
It's so corroborative, right? That's a real truth test. Yeah, it would be really amazing.
Famous for its long sentences. And I was in a study group about 30 years ago, and a stranger was reading, and in the middle of this long sentence, he says, "Boy, you can really tell it was someone who didn't have to read that wrote this. Who didn't have to breathe that wrote this."
Well, we are in quarantine, so that would limit what we're going to do for some period.
Good point.
Well, that's why we don't have a system communications.
Maybe in the meantime that this is a spur of speculation to get our minds open to the possibility of the potential. So that we can handle it when it actualizes.
Yeah. I always thought Steven Spielberg was serving that purpose. Instead of, unfriendly aliens, he's like the first filmmaker that's, portrays them as kind or gentle, like in,
and just
Star Trek had some of those.
But, I think we are being prepared for that. And even something like the Hubble, and then next year, I think the Webb telescope, when that's launched, it's going to open up even more. So, I think they're trying to open our frame of reference, but it's going to take a long time for that to happen around the world. Hey, Tom. Are you saying bye, Tom?
You're muted.
You're muted.
Muted.
No. Hi, I wanted to share with you while you were we need to cut out. We're going to try to get outside for a little bit.
Sure.
But I wanted to share with you while you guys were discussing. I wrote this down. The Urantia book, the fifth ethical revelation, has begun and is still dynamically unfolding through the spiritual pioneers, personality participating in its dissemination of its teachings.
That's lovely.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's a poem.
It's happening.
It's happening. It's
Yep.
evolutionary.
We are part of it.
We are.
You know, no personality. The first four ethical revelations had a personality with it. This one doesn't. We are the personalities that have to take the responsibility of disseminating the teachings.
Exactly right.
You know, the society had a program last year on the mandate, the last instructions that were left, because it was so fascinating. And we showed the film of one of the founders. At any rate, yeah. And in that mandate that was so fascinating was it says the book was not made for your times. It was made for a future time when the earth has been made safe for the Urantia teachings. A curious thing to say, safe for the Urantia teachings. So I realized, well, then maybe it's not our job so much to convert people, but it is our job to lay the foundation. And then someone brought up the fact, well, you know, the book only came out as of 1950. So we are the first ones to receive it, the first ones. And so think of that. Think of what an amazing confluence of fortunate occurrences that we happen to be here when the book comes out. We're the first troopers.
The first generation of.
The first ones. And like, how did we find ourselves in this amazing situation where so few people can understand or recognize the book, and yet we do. In fact, most of us recognize it immediately on first sight, on the first words that came out of the book. Bingo, it hit home immediately. Why? Why us? Why did we recognize it and so many others do not? I don't understand. I will not know the answer to that question, but it does puzzle me. Why?
Well, I'll tell you, I think I know something about it because, you know, most of us have had some kind of a religious upbringing, and then we decided we didn't completely buy it, or maybe we put it aside, which is what I did. I put Catholicism aside about age 23, and then I thought about things about age 29, and so I think it takes somebody philosophically active. He can't just be, or she can't be, somebody who just follows the traditional religious organized religion.
Right.
That won't work. And it can't be somebody who says, oh, this is a bunch of rubbish, I don't want to deal with it anymore, like, let's say, Bill Maher or somebody else who's sure that this is, you know, just a con that you play on yourself, which is how he puts it. So I think it takes people who are philosophically more independent and not just simply accepting or rejecting, but who can look into it for themselves. That's what I think is the difference.
Yes, I do too. I agree.
A level of maturity of some kind.
Well, it also says leaders, that, you know, the first generation was more leaders, and, you know, there are many followers, and, you know, people want to be told what to do. They don't, you know.
Yeah.
And many of those people that you mentioned the Urantia book to them, first thing they say is, who wrote it? You know, it's you know, it's like, whoa, you know, I've got to be careful how I trot here because I don't want to, you know. Anyway, so, but people who are their own authority, you know, and of course, how does that happen? in my opinion, through adjustment, through indwelling adjuster, our adjuster. So, I don't know. I think we're fine one-on-one as we pass by. That's my thought.
Well, thank goodness we also have the school.
Yes. And
Well,
now
it
we
is,
have-
it is an opportunity to serve and build, and
Press.
we need creative people. We need people who have studied the revelation, and I think who have a strong worship practice, have a relationship with God, who are embodying this teaching, because Jesus, it really is also, I think, Phil, that it's the religion of the spirit. And to do that, you have to shed the cultural norms to some extent, the belief systems that you were born into. And that's what Jesus said, the religions of authority, but that's a whole set of belief systems about the world. And we begin to think independently. And that's a process that is mysterious to me. It must have to do with our genetic endowment. It must have to do with the thought adjuster that we have and the circumstances of our life, which the adjuster has projected. Right? Knows what it has to work with, right? Betsy, what were you going to say?
I was just going to say, it just seems like, many people who've spoken today have talked about their, religious roots, if you will. And I think it's remarkable that all those have nurtured and nourished, how our ability to still seek truth today. So, hey, let's give it up to all. But you know what I mean? I think that is a unique thing, but there's that commonality as well.
Yes, yeah, right. Agreed. I was raised by atheists, and
okay,
made me seek
it was
truth.
a perfectly good theory until now.
Wait. It made you what, Andrew?
Seek truth.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, well, if that's not true, what is?
Yeah.
I mean, if
but you have to be
you're raised
honest.
by people who tell you that God doesn't even exist, it's like, well, then why are we talking about it?
Andrew, in my experience, the atheists are far better to give the Urantia book to.
Yeah, that's right.
Than a Bible toter, because they'll look at it. You can, whereas the Bible person won't. No way.
I know, exactly. That's right.
Do you know who I felt would be
very open to it.
Yeah. Betsy, go ahead. Betsy.
That at least our religious backgrounds or not have really the commonality is that they've nurtured seeking truth. How about that?
Yeah,
good.
I think that's part of it.
I gotta go, guys. Bye.
Okay, bye, Andrew. Andrew, I hope that we will stay in communication, Andrew.
Absolutely.
Now we have
Okay,
Zoom.
good.
We have Zoom to stay in communication, as
okay.
John said early.
Oh,
will do. Love you all. Bye-bye.
Love you too. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Yeah.
Well, we're at 5:53 here. We've been 3 hours.
It's been a wonderful meeting, and I'm so glad that you stayed.
Elizabeth,
you're amazing. It's I love the university. It's just amazing.
Oh, thank you.
I'm really interested in looking at the site and signing up for stuff. So thank you.
Oh, please do. And Betsy and I invite any one of you to definitely check out the courses, see how effective they are. If something doesn't work or we're missing something, feed it back to me. We're constantly improving. And then if you see a way that you can serve further, that you can use whatever your unique set of talents is, please talk to me, because we need more workers. They always say the laborers are few.
Okay.
The task is gigantic, So Tom and Marie and Bob and Betsy, Diane, I know you're on board. Cheryl, I see you all over Facebook. You're a very involved person. Phil, my God, you have a legacy, decades of service.
I'm gonna visit the cafe. I get those emails. And
I think you
haven't done it, so that's
please.
Yeah,
I'll be.
We're looking forward to it too.
It is a vibrant community. I think you'll love it. And I could see you as a moderator too, at some point, seriously. And listen, we have papers in the science section. You could make a huge contribution there. I want you to think about that, to use your knowledge, your insight. We need more of the scientists and mathematicians to handle some of those papers. But anyway, just get your feet wet.
All right.
Thank you, everybody.
All right. Thank you. God bless. Good night. Stay connected.
Love you
Yeah.
guys.
Love you. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you for your time, Elizabeth. You gave very generously.
Oh, I love it. This is what I live for. I live for this.
Take care of yourself, please.
Okay. All right, my friends.
Thank you.
Much
All right.
love.
We
See
ready
you.
to call
Bye.
it an evening or a day? I guess.
Tom, I wanted to ask you before you get away, it reminded me again when Marie brought up about Pato. I was at that conference of his in LA.
Yeah.
I loved the little workshop on meditation that you two presented. I was trying to explain that to Diane, and we came to the consensus that if somewhere in your busy schedules that you could join us for one of these quarterlies and give us one of those meditative insight how-tos. Okay.
Just would love to.
Love to do that.
Oh, that would be wonderful. We would really appreciate that.
Oh, that would be so much fun.
Yeah, we would enjoy it.
And then a nice spinoff of that is you can create an opportunity for connecting in whatever medium you decide for a group meditative process or experience. And it's really cool to do.
Oh, come and teach us, please.
We could do it, and then I don't know why I've never done this before, but we could on Zoom meditate together.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, we could.
If you're going to do a full meditation, it's usually recommended for 20 minutes. So that could be like towards the end of our gathering. If we wanted to spend that much time, we don't have to meditate. We could teach you about it, and if that's all you want to do, that would be fine.
Or maybe at the beginning, instead of, some groups do a moment of silence. If we did it to set the tone for the meeting for something different. My big takeaway from what you did at Patos was I sensed that there was this brief how to quickie into that state that you could do when you were pressed for time. And then there was the secondary one that you could do when you were more at ease and you were more into a worshipful mindset and time set. So if you something that would show those two, somehow, leave it up to your creativity, but it's been surfacing at our study group and stuff. So I just wanted to catch you before you got away.
That is so cool. Yes, that would be so much fun to do. And you're right, Cheryl, we could touch on both processes and then we could wrap up with a meditative session. Like Tom says,
it might just be 10 minutes.
Doesn't have to be 15 minutes, 20 minutes. It can be intimidating for newbies to start with 20 minutes of silence. So you can build up to that. So that would be a fun thing to get to do.
Yeah. Would love to.
Meditative sandwich.
I have one more question.
What was that?
A meditative sandwich.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
And a little longer one to end it out, and that way anybody can leave when they're ready to.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yes, we could. Yeah, we could.
Yeah.
What were you going to say, Diane?
Well, I wanted to thank Cheryl for bringing that up. That's excellent. That's a great idea.
Yes.
And we would really welcome this whatever you offer around that meditation. That would be very appropriate. And I wanted to ask you if you could just say a few words about the Stepping Stones project. I don't know exactly what it's all about.
Oh, it's so exciting. Yeah. And it's in line with what you guys were talking about today, marketing. Go ahead, babe.
Stepping Stones, it started with the Fellowship's Web Content Committee. At least that's how I got aware of it. We're on a family life committee, Urantia Family Life Committee, and we're connected both with the association and the fellowship. And we got asked by the web content committee for somebody from the family life committee or some buddies to get involved with their stepping stone project. And 2 folks did, and one of them wasn't interested. So the other one was. April Helen's involved. And then she begged somebody else to get on. And so I said, well, I will. And I got onto it. And what I understand we're doing, I've been about 3 or 4 months. We're trying to develop a way to engage people who get on a site. We have been given a grant of, I forgot what, I think it's $40,000 a month worth of ads from Google to get them to get onto our site. Google wants to engage people, to stay on the internet. So we're trying to develop the stepping stones is like slowly bringing someone to quotes in the book, but that's not a goal, that's a path. Our goal is to help facilitate spiritual development for people and to try to engage them once they click on one of our ads, to engage them into something that will help them spiritually grow. And so they have a lot of people who are technical experts in the internet business, and they're looking for writers. And so what I've gotten involved in starting to write, well, if somebody clicked on this ad, then what would they get to? And the idea is hopefully once they click on it, that they get to not just something to read, but a video with somebody talking to them and introducing some ideas and concepts that are related to the ad. And the hope is just to encourage people's spiritual development. One of our committee members, Albert Lassiter, called it self-directed search, as we want to try to encourage, is people's self-directed search. And I was really impressed with Elizabeth's UUI and having a self-directed program. And I thought, oh, I wonder if he borrowed the idea from that or he came on it on his own. I don't know yet. But at any rate, that's the general concept. Does that make sense?
Yes,
Such as, I do grief work, Diane. So let's say someone gets on it and they go, what is grief?
Or I feel that's sad.
Yeah, why am I sad? I've had a loss. Why am I sad? And so what we'll do is we'll integrate with Google and our technical writers so that I'll answer what grief is. And that answer will then take them, they can decide to go on, and maybe then I can tell them more about the grief process. And in that, we'll try to integrate some of the book's teachings so that with a couple more clicks, they might eventually come to your Ranch book quotes. And then they might, if they click some more, they might eventually get to the website. But it's ways to get people to start thinking, using the internet and the very manipulative yet powerful process of the internet to get people to start following spiritually developing directions and information. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that does make sense. So
and we get $40,000 a month to do this from Google.
Amazing.
Isn't that unreal?
Yeah.
And so I'm thinking another great step is going to be taking people to the university.
Oh yeah, that's
today I just
obvious.
Realized they've got to become one of the steps that people can get to.
That's what's on my mind too. Meeting, I got to talk about that.
What, Diane?
Of course, that's a natural. That's
well, yeah, of course. That's
that's where you can then pursue even more.
Exactly. Exactly. So I'm excited. I'm going to write about practical parenting things and grief. Tom has all kinds of stuff to write on. Kay Cooper, we're talking to her tomorrow about getting involved with all the things that she and Bill have written. So it's pretty exciting to think, how we can expand just spiritual awareness that maybe will eventually lead people to the Arancha book, but that's not the scope.
The goal is really to disseminate the teachings and keep a window open for those people whose adjusters are leading them to the book.
Oh yeah, we could at least help. Well, when I first saw that website, like I said, my first reaction was, oh my gosh, this is a place I can send people to get a much clearer explanation and a more clear way, more exciting way
Yeah.
by telling them. So this was mainly to be, for me, a resource for directing people who might be interested, who are asking me questions. So that is like a stepping stone.
Exactly.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
exactly. Precisely. Yeah.
Wow. Well,
But we're gonna try to get out before it gets dark.
Yeah,
it's great to discover each other's paths, and
dark here.
I
It
feel like
is.
of fellow travelers on the same path now.
Exactly.
Yes,
You know, we've all been given those God-given talents and skills and abilities to use. And thank God, all of us have different ones. It's just finding where are the best places for us to develop those and
yes.
use those.
Invest, yeah, your energy.
Well, happy traveling.
All right,
We're
thank
gonna go
you.
walk.
We're just
We'll
going for a
see
walk,
ya.
yeah.
Love you all. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you, Diane. You're wonderful.
Yes, and thank you for connecting us to the whole thing, Diane.
Yeah. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.